A company posts a remote engineering job. Nothing unusual. A few hundred applications come in. Most are forgettable. One isn't. The resume is clean. The LinkedIn page looks normal. The interview goes well. The candidate sounds calm, professional, even slightly overprepared. They know the stack. They answer quickly. They smile at the right moments. And after weeks of hiring, someone on the team says the most dangerous sentence in modern business. I think we found our person. So HR sends the laptop. Payroll adds a new employee. Slack welcomes a new name. And somewhere, very far from that company, a government-backed operation gets exactly what it wanted. This is the story of the employee who wasn't real, because according to the FBI, DOJ, and Treasury, North Korean IT workers have spent years using stolen identities, fake personas, remote job platforms, shell companies, payment accounts, and US-based facilitators to get hired by real businesses. Not by breaking in at first, by being invited in. Treasury says the broader system involves thousands of workers and generates revenue that supports the regime's weapons programs. And that is what makes this story feel so unsettling. There is no smashed window, no masked intruder, no dramatic breach screen, just a resume, a Zoom call, a shipping label, a paycheck, and then sometimes access to internal systems, code, documents, or crypto assets that never should have been anywhere near an adversary. DOJ says workers in these schemes gained access to sensitive employer information and, in some cases, stole export-controlled US military technology and virtual currency. The official warnings had been there for a while. The 2022 advisory from State, Treasury, and the FBI said DPRK IT workers were posing as non-North Korean nationals, often as US-based teleworkers using VPNs, proxy accounts, and falsified or stolen identity documents. It warned that these workers were not just earning money. Sometimes they used privileged access for illicit purposes, including enabling malicious cyber intrusions. The fact sheet also listed red flags that sound almost mundane until you see the full picture. Inconsistent identity details, different IPs in different countries, unusual payment behavior, and workers who could not reliably operate during the hours they claimed to be local. Then the warnings got even more specific. In 2024, the FBI said US-based facilitators were helping these workers get through the last mile of trust. They gave them places to ship devices, US-based internet connections, remote desktop setup, job search accounts, financial accounts from businesses. Some even attended virtual interviews and meetings on behalf of the workers. The fake employee was not always one person. In practice, it could be a small support system holding up a single invented life. That is the detail that changes the whole story, because the fake resume is only the front door. The real trick begins after the offer letter. Most companies assume the laptop on their network is being used by the person they hired. That assumption is exactly what laptop farms were built to exploit. In August 2024, DOJ announced charges against a Nashville facilitator and said he used a laptop farm to deceive companies into thinking they had hired a US-located worker. Then, in June 2025, DOJ announced coordinated nationwide actions that described searches of known or suspected laptop farms across 16 states, plus seizures of financial accounts, fraudulent websites, and approximately 200 computers. This was not one weird house, it was a pattern. Picture what that means in practice. A real company laptop arrives at a real US address. It gets opened on American soil. It connects from an American network. Security tools see something that looks normal, but the hands actually steering the work may be somewhere else entirely, reaching in through remote tools, proxy infrastructure, or a facilitator standing between the worker and the machine. FBI alerts say those facilitators have helped enable remote desktop connections, reship devices overseas, and provide a US-based connection for company laptops. From the company's point of view, the employee exists. There is a name in H, messages in Slack, commits in GitHub, tickets moving in Jira, a face on video calls, maybe even a cheerful reply in a team channel. But the Bureau's later warning made clear how that illusion can deepen. In January 2025, the FBI said North Korean IT workers had copied code repositories to personal accounts, exfiltrated proprietary and sensitive data, and in some cases extorted employers after discovery by holding stolen data and code hostage. It also warned that they had been observed using AI and face-swapping technology during video interviews. The ghost could look back at, and the money never just stayed a salary. Treasury says the DPRK government withholds up to 90% of wages from overseas IT workers. DOJ's June 2025 forfeiture case says illegally obtained crypto tied to these schemes was allegedly laundered through fictitious identities, small structured transfers, token swapping, chain hopping, NFTs used as stores of value, and commingled accounts before funds were sent then onward to the North Korean government. The remote paycheck was not just compensation, it could become infrastructure. By 2025 and 2026, the scale started to sound less like an isolated scam and more like industrialized deception. DOJ said one multi-year scheme used at least 80 stolen US identities, placed workers at more than 100 US companies, and generated more than $5 million in illicit revenue. In the Arizona case, DOJ said 68 identities were stolen and 309 US businesses plus 2 international businesses were defrauded. The FBI later created a victim information page specifically to identify companies caught in the remote IT worker scheme. So the haunting part of this story is not just that fake employees existed, it is that they could look ordinary for weeks or months. Ordinary enough to pass interviews, ordinary enough to get a laptop delivered, ordinary enough to get invited into systems that were built around trust. That is why this is such a powerful, modern documentary story. It sits exactly where remote work, sanctions evasion, identity theft, cybersecurity, and human psychology all collide. The company thought it had hired talent. In the worst cases, investigators say it hired an access point. And once you see it that way, the final question becomes impossible to ignore. How many companies are worried about getting hacked while never considering that the breach might already be on payroll?